When you are old and lying on the bed of illness, when each breath feels heavier than the last and the edges of the world blur into muted colors of hospital walls and distant murmurs, you will begin to understand what truly remains with you. No longer will your mind race toward the ambitions of youth. No longer will your heart crave the trophies and titles you once pursued, and no longer will the complexities of past agendas weigh so heavily on your chest. Instead, you will find yourself sifting through memories, recalling faces, and trying to grasp at the intangible threads that wove your existence into a tapestry of shared moments and quiet revelations. In that time, you will learn that all the worldly possessions you once called your own, the fortunes and accolades, the large homes and shining cars, do not linger by your side. They remain outside, detached, objects that neither comfort nor console. They are irrelevant to your final reckoning, like distant echoes of a conversation that no longer matters. What truly matters, and what you can rely on as your body grows frail, is not the accumulation of things, but the tenderness of a human hand, the gentle whisper of a voice that cares, the warmth of a presence that does not flinch at your weakness. When you are old and confined to that narrow bed, a bed that seems to swallow your once proud strength, you will see that success and failure both collapse into the same quiet hush. The world outside your window continues its rhythms, the sun rising and setting with indifference, people hustling along corridors and streets, doctors and nurses moving from room to room with their charts and subtle smiles. Yet you exist within a slower current, a separate sphere where time feels elongated. You will start to understand that you are not alone in this fate. Countless individuals, past and present, have felt the gentle fade of their physical abilities, have confronted the reality that the human body is finite, delicate, and temporary. In these moments, you will discover that what endures within you are the invisible bonds you forge with others, the kindnesses shared, the empathy given and received. Even if no one stands immediately beside you, their voices, their gestures, and the memory of their love remain inside you, like a quiet chorus that hums softly in your chest. Perhaps you will remember the laughter of children you once knew, whether they were your own children, grandchildren, or simply children of friends who once scampered through your living room, leaving behind echoes of tiny footsteps. You might recall how their eyes lit up when you spoke kindly, how they turned to you with trust and curiosity. That innocence and warmth are not lost. It still lives in the tender recollection of those moments. You may also remember old friends, those who shared the journeys of youth and maturity, with whom you exchanged secrets, dreams, and worries late into the night. Some may have drifted away over the years, some may have passed on, but the shape they carved in your memory remains. Their words and their smiles are part of you, and in your stillness, you can rely on the comfort they once provided. And let us not forget the lovers and partners you cherished, the people who helped you discover the quiet power of companionship, their gentle touches, the warmth of their bodies next to yours, the consoling words when the world was harsh. All these linger even when physical presence fades. As the days blur together in the room where medical instruments quietly monitor your breathing and heartbeat, you may find yourself pondering the larger questions of meaning and purpose. You might realize that the foundation of a fulfilled life is not the sum of victories, nor the weight of one's influence, but rather how deeply you touched others with your sincerity and compassion. In old age, nearing the end of your mortal journey, you begin to understand that it is love and understanding that remain when all else is stripped away. Even the finest jewelry, the largest estate, the highest position you held, none of these will bring comfort or soothe your fears. No material wealth can cradle your trembling hand or assure you that you are not alone. Instead, you rely on the kindnesses bestowed upon you and those you offered in return. Compassion is currency that does not depreciate. Every kind act you performed lives on in the heart of someone who needed it. Every supportive word you offered to a friend or a stranger is an anchor against the cruelty of time. So as you lie there, you learn that even your body's failings cannot diminish the worth of your humanity. Your bones may ache. Your muscles may refuse to cooperate. Your voice may come out in frail whispers, but none of these infirmities strip you of the gentle marks you left on the world. If you were ever a teacher, your students carry your lessons forward. If you were ever a loving parent, your children carry fragments of your caring spirit into their own futures. If you were a friend who listened patiently, your friends will always remember the solace of that moment. These intangible legacies become pillars you can rely on. They assure you that your time here mattered, that your life contributed to something more than the sum of your possessions. In this space of reflection, fears may arise, fears of death, of oblivion, of being forgotten. But you will find solace when you remember that the human heart is designed to carry traces of those we've known. People pass stories along. They integrate your teachings into their own lives. They carry your laughter and your lessons forward, often without even realizing it. Your influence weaves itself into the fabric of their daily decisions, their ways of caring for others, their understanding of what it means to be human. This continuity persists beyond your own breath, extending your presence well past a point when your body can no longer hold you here. And so, ironically, as you lie there weakened, you may discover a strength you never fully recognized before, the endurance of compassion, the resilience of a kind gesture, the immortality of empathy. When pain flares or when weariness settles over you like a heavy blanket, you might close your eyes and drift through the landscapes of your memory. You might find comfort in recalling the scent of a home-cooked meal lovingly prepared, or the feeling of a friend's arm draped around your shoulders when you were younger. You might remember standing under a warm sun in your youth, watching birds overhead, and feeling that the world was immense and full of possibility. Though you can no longer run through fields or climb mountains, you carry these images inside you. They are part of your internal geography, and as you lie in the hush of that room, they are as vivid and comforting as a gentle lullaby. You might also realize how your life story has mingled with countless others. Strangers you once helped in small ways, giving directions, offering a seat, offering a word of encouragement, carry subtle traces of that encounter. They might not remember your face or your name, but the residue of your kindness lives on, guiding them to treat someone else kindly in turn. In this way, your kindness propagates through time and space, forming an invisible web of goodwill. In old age, this intangible legacy becomes something you can rely on. It assures you that, although your body may no longer serve you well, your impact on the world continues to ripple outward, touching new lives, shaping new futures, assuring you that you did not live in vain. As you become increasingly aware of your own mortality, the contrasts in life become clearer. When you were younger, perhaps you found comfort in achievements and ambitions. Perhaps you felt a surge of pride with each new acquisition, each accolade pinned to your name. But now, these things seem hollow and distant, like discarded shells on an empty beach. Instead, what holds meaning are the human connections you nurtured. Relying on these connections in old age is not a failure, but a profound understanding that we are social beings. We need one another. We draw strength from one another, and we are sustained by the memory of mutual care. What matters is not how many people admired your accomplishments from afar, but how many people felt seen, comforted, or uplifted by your presence and your actions. If you listen carefully, you can hear the soft hum of life's continuity. The nurse who adjusts your blanket might remind you of someone you once cared for, completing a circle of compassion. The family member who sits quietly at your bedside, reading to you or simply holding your hand, represents all the tenderness you poured into them over the years, now returning to you in a moment of need. In these quiet exchanges, you understand that love is not lost over time. It circulates, changes forms, and reappears when it's most necessary. Even the thought of distant friends, those who cannot be at your side, brings a gentle comfort. Memories of shared meals, laughter at old jokes, and mutual understanding flow back, assuring you that the bonds you created are not undone by physical absence. It will dawn on you that relying on the intangible is not an act of desperation, but a recognition of fundamental truths. We are not defined by what we own. We are defined by how we share ourselves. We are not measured by what we amass, but by what we give freely. When all the decorations of life fall away, when titles fade and fortunes vanish into irrelevance, we return to a basic human simplicity. We exist as beings connected by strands of empathy, trust, compassion, and love. And in old age, lying on that bed, you can rest in the knowledge that these strands are far stronger and more enduring than any physical structure you have ever known. So, do not fear the emptiness of what you cannot hold in your hand. Embrace instead the fullness of what you carry in your heart. Remember that, long after your voice falls silent, the echoes of your kindness will continue. They will appear in the warm smile of someone who learned gentleness from you, in the calm reassurance offered by a friend you once comforted, in the patient listening of a grandchild who inherited your empathy. When all is said and done, what you rely on in old age is a collective memory of love shared and received, an invisible inheritance that time and illness cannot erase. In these final reflections, your body rests, but your mind drifts across the landscapes of memory and meaning. The walls, the machines, the quiet hospital staff, they fade into a background hum. At the center of your awareness are the stories you lived, the people you cherished, the kindnesses you gave and received. This is your foundation, your support beam when everything else crumbles. You will find that this truth, simple and profound, is the ultimate source of comfort as life's chapters close. In that gentle twilight, you rely on the eternal truth of human connection, the legacy of shared care, and the quiet understanding that you were never truly alone.